Welcome back. Time to do another mission, and I did something I normally don't do. Well, first let's talk about this mission. It is a retrieve, or not a retrieve, I have this thing and I have to go take it somewhere. Delivery, there we go. Mission. And you're given a blueprint to create the item. And what I'm going to do now is see if I want to create this or if I want to buy this. In the little tutorial, because you can't see my mouse, on the right hand side at the bottom I'm reading about manufacturing. When you create something you get a blueprint, and the blueprint which you're seeing here shows you the items that you need to create the item. I think it's a little confusing because it's got like U and a number and perfect and a number, and I'm assuming because I'm new and I don't have the skills, it's going to take me, the U number is larger than the perfect number because I have no skills. I don't have high enough skills to create something perfectly, so I need more of a resource to do it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so you go into science and industry, and this science and industry is where all of your jobs will be. So when you right click on the blueprint, you will get this box, and you see how that says now, all of those nows. You are able to use, like the manufacturing resources at this station right now if it's green. If it's not, you don't see the nows, then you'll see times when it will be available, and then you're going to have to travel. So I have enough, so I'm doing the job, and then for some reason it doesn't automatically refresh. I don't understand why that is, but to get a listing of the jobs you're going to have to click get jobs. See? So okay, and it's in progress and I've got some time. So I did something with this video that I normally don't do with videos, and that is I redid the audio on it. I scrapped the old one because I was just talking about, whatever. And I decided that there was something that's coming up that I want to talk about that's time sensitive because it's happening tomorrow in the Eve community. And I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't want to skip anything in the series, and I didn't want to record another one where I'm just standing there, blah, 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 blah. So I decided, you know what, I have these videos, and if you notice the dates at the bottom, so you can see when I did this, and you can see what date it is today. And I don't want there to be such of a large lapse in time where I have this huge backlog. I did that with Dragon Age 2, and I did not like that, where I had a large gaming session and I had all these videos, and it took longer for me to process them than it did for me to, to actually record them. So I wanted to get this up. So the reason why is because there's allegedly a press conference going on with Eve Online, and as a new person, a new player, I'm confused as to what's going on because and I'm just doing some mining here, which is rather boring. I decided to do mining while the mission was completing, the job was completing. I did a search online, couldn't find anything about this press conference. Looked on the forums and looked, I could not find anything about this press conference. I found out about this press conference by accident following Twitter, and somebody mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking press conference. Now, a press conference, the purpose in having a press conference is to make a public announcement, get a point across publicly. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll check it out. When is it? Just tell me where it's streaming and I'll be there. Well, guess what? You can't. The way they're doing it, it seems, is that they've invited news sites, I suppose, to receive the message, but they have been politely asked not to stream any of the audio. And that's where my brain just like, say what? Because in this day and age, people are, with the internet, there's no need to have a press conference anymore. And with the communication problems that CCP has with the community, now I see why. Because, wow, okay, wait a minute, let me back up. Then these people that have been chosen to appear at this press conference ask their users, well, do you have any questions? And as a new user, I'm like, wait a minute, I have to submit a question to you, and then you can filter my question and decide whether to ask it or not. I mean, that's how we communicate. Not in 2011, baby. I refuse to do it. I will not do that. So I asked Arnar, Arnar. I'm horrible with names, so I apologize profusely if I mispronounced that. Straight up, why are you doing it like this? Because you're missing, the perfect opportunity. And I'm not saying that they should redo this one right here, but from here on end, why don't you just have a moderated, if you just have to have it moderated, a moderated chat with your users? Say, you know what? We're going to discuss these issues. We're going to have a chat, have several of CPP's people, there. And, even if it's a moderated chat, they can decide what questions they want to ask, which ones they want to address. But you can begin to form a direct connection with your paying customers. Why don't you do that? And so I found it ironic that, the guy that's accepting questions said that communication issues was one of the issues. Well, I boldly ask, is stopping this shit on the list? Because, and here's where let's think about this logically, okay? Supposedly there's like 360,000 accounts or users using Eve, something like that. And I found this on Twitter now. I could not find it on the forums. I could not find it, on Google. I found it by accident, all right? Now, ironically, Trevor on Twitter made a tweet saying that he was getting close to having more Twitter followers than the Anar, because he had like 620 something, and Anar has something like 650. And again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing people's names. So I don't usually pay attention to stats all that much because I'm just not, like a statsy person. I prefer interaction than numbers. And to me, when I'm getting good interaction, that is a better sign to me than, a number. So I went and looked at how many, Twitter followers he has. So he, like I said, he's got like 620. Anar has like 653. Another guy, KT, I'm not even going to try to say that because I will screw it up, has 838. And then I don't know who CCP Manifest is. He's got like 2,000, almost 2,200. Closer to 2,200. And, I'm looking at this and I'm like, and there's 360 users in Eve. And I have more followers than them combined times 2. And even I wouldn't even be close to reaching, everybody that has the right to know this information. You're asking for somebody. Oh, and the guy asking, about users doesn't even have 200 followers. So how is CCP getting an accurate feedback from the community if the way they're going about it is, so fragmented? They can't. Now, I don't mean any disrespect to these site owners or even CCP. But if you think about it, this is where a lot of the communication problems are happening. And a way to fix this is, like, for instance, I'm going to ask some questions. For example, my first question, it was stated in a previous interview that the other race captain quarters would be released around the end of August, late August. With everything going on, are you still on track to release that? I'll ask another question. What plans do you have to bridge the communication issues between management and the community? Now, the reason why I ask this is because the guy asking questions says communication issues were already on the list, but he didn't say what exact question he was going to ask. Then my third question is, why do you have closed press conferences? Why don't you just, have a chat? So yeah, I don't understand this closed press conference thing, and maybe you guys that have been in the game longer can explain it to me. Because to me, I'd like to know how many people actually knew there was going to be a press conference and that there was an opportunity to submit, questions and, have some of your concerns, answered. I mean, did you know? And I asked the guy accepting questions if this was going to be closed or not, and he didn't even respond to me. I had to find that out because he responded to somebody else. Now, with 163 followers, it's not like he's swamped with questions. She is swamped with questions here. So, yeah, I'm not feeling it. I don't think that it's an efficient way to communicate, and I think that it needs to change simply because there are serious communication problems. And I think that this hierarchy of, this unnecessary levels of people in between CCP and their users needs to go. The CSM I can understand, but even this, sometimes companies have to just sit down and be one-on-one with their users. Every other MMO does it. I don't understand. Maybe Eve does it, the management does it in other ways, but the whole point of a press conference is to make a public announcement. Make it directly to your users. Those are the ones that need to hear the message. So, tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this? And if you didn't know about it and you're finding out about it through me, how do you feel about that? Are you going to submit your questions? Funky Bacon on Twitter, I think, is the one if you want to submit your questions. But I'd like to know, how do you feel about that? Would you be, if CCP was willing, would you like to see, a live stream and, when they're answering these questions, be able to see their reactions and, get the tone in their voice, and what they're saying in a real-time environment instead of, a video that could be edited later? Would that help build your trust? What would it take to help, what do you think needs to be done to, bridge the gap, with communication? I'd like to know, what your thoughts are. Okay. Boy, as a new user, I sure am stirring up some, and I don't mean to stir up trouble. I just don't understand this. And I'm not trying to be negative because, as I said, I thoroughly am loving this game, and I am looking forward to what CCP does. And for the most part, I mean, you have your vocal minority. Every game has that. It doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. And to be honest, I had a gaming community that was, 3 times larger than Eve, is right now. So I can understand some of the communication issues and the issues that they'll face growing a community. But, I just don't, it doesn't make any sense. And it's not working the way that it is now. So, nothing wrong with asking a question. It's my YouTube channel. At least I'm not going on the forums and whining. I'm unsubbing and I'm leaving, but I'm still here because I don't really want to go. In poker, they call that a bluff. All right. I am going to stop here because I don't want to accept another mission and move on. Like I said, I might rework some of the audio in these a little bit because if there's important things that I want to discuss while they're timely, I think that's more important than me jabbering, except for the stupid thing that I did that I'm going to post anyway. See you on the next one.